Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? It's your boy Isaac,
And this is your boy Bryce.
and we are brothers on tennis. And folks, it's been a long time since you've heard from us. We understand, we realize that Australian Open, it wore us out, y'all. It wore us out. So we are back at you, Bryce. We got a lot to cover. We got a whole month of February tournaments to cover, brother. How you doing, first and foremost?
Good, man. Just, we are truly moving into, you know, this next gen period. A lot of these names are new names that we're getting familiar with. And so that's a little bit exciting to me. Who's going to lead, in this next generation of tennis champions.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. Yeah. They're coming, but the old school is still trying to do their thing. So it's a nice little space. It's a good space right now. So,
It is.
yeah. And so we again, folks, we pretty much have not come at you with a podcast recording since the review of the Australian Open. So what we're gonna do is just going to kind of go through all of the tournaments thus far in February, give some shout outs to the folks that have were able to raise the title, and then we'll get to the current tournaments that are happening this week right before India and Wales. So, Bryce, you ready?
Let's let's get it.
Let's get it. All right. So going back to the basically the first week of February, we had I believe it was either 4 or 5 tournaments on both the men and women's side. Starting off with the was it the Abu Dhabi, which was the ladies 500 in early February, and Bryce Belinda Bencic was able to get through that and actually take that title. She was playing a red hot Samsonova, who has been really, really, really on point thus far this year. Any thoughts on that matchup or that victory?
Well, I was annoyed because I had picked Belinda Bencic to win the Australian Open.
Yes.
And she got all silly with it in Australia and didn't get the job done. And then she's going to step right out from Australia and win this tournament in Abu Dhabi.
Right.
So, but no, I mean, Belinda is just, she's such a solid player and she's so good on hard courts. And that's why I thought, she had an opportunity at the Australian. But, she had a good tournament here. She beat some good players, like you said. But the concerning thing for me is, and I've been meaning to ask your opinion on this.
Yeah.
Leylah Fernandez.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't get out of the first round. She was
Right.
playing Shelby Rogers, who isn't an easy out in itself.
Right.
But we just haven't seen, people talk about, well, we haven't really seen Raducanu do a lot since she won the Australian Open. I'm kind of feeling the same way about Leylah. I mean, I've seen her win a match here and there, but since her run to the U.S. Open finals, she's been kind of on the not winning side of things herself.
I agree with that, man. It's been a little disappointing to say the least. And I don't believe she's been dealing with an injury, so it is very curious that we haven't seen better results coming from Leylah. But she's got a pretty high stakes game as well. I mean, we talk about Caroline Garcia and just hitting out on the ball. Well, Leylah takes the ball early. I mean, Leylah is one always taking the ball on the rise, and you really have to have your timing right, and everything has to be good in order for you to really play that style of game. And I just feel like maybe she's just a little bit off. You know what I mean? Kind of how,
Right.
I equate it to, someone like Ostapenko who can, be hitting folks in the front row and certain days. And then other days, it's just like winner after winner after winner. So I think it's a timing thing with Leylah, and she may just be a little off right now, but hoping she can get her game back together. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. But with that said, Belinda Bencic, thumbs up, kudos to you for taking that 500. That was really very, very solid on your part. So good job.
Yes, indeed.
And Bryce, we also had a lesser tournament in Linz, with the Austria ladies Linz, and then that one, Potapova ended up lifting that title. But the curious thing, and I always like to point this out, was that the top seed was Maria Sakkari. Any surprise?
No, it's not. And the fact that and we will continue to say this. We
Yes.
really like Sakura. We think she's a
Yes.
cool person. She's got a great game, but there's something missing there because you can predict it.
Yeah.
You know, once she gets to the semifinals, and heaven forbid if she makes a final,
Right.
you can predict that she's going to take that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not exactly sure what needs to change. I mean, I know you have mentioned that you think that maybe there needs to be a coaching change or at least a separation of duties between Tom Hill being the coach and being the psychologist.
Right. Right. But something needs to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But
she's only won what? As long as she's been kind of in the top 10 and around the top of the game, she only has one tournament victory, right?
yeah, yeah, I believe that is the case. And it's like with her resume and the results that she's gotten, it makes absolutely no sense that she doesn't have, she should be working on double digits at this point. I mean, seriously.
Right. Right.
So the fact that she's nowhere close to that is pretty. It definitely speaks volumes. So
Right.
again, I feel like there is some changes that are needed there. But again, folks, we love Sakura, but gotta get that missing piece taken care of for sure.
Right.
But kudos to Potapova,
All
because I
right.
believe that was her first title. So kudos to her for lifting the Lens crown. All
The
right.
Russians continue to excel.
Don't they? Always. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So we'll switch gears, Bryce, because I believe we had three other tournaments that week, and those were on the men's side. So we had the Cordoba Open, and Sebastian Baez ended up getting through and taking that title. And it's been really interesting for him because he actually was on a bit of a losing streak himself. I can't remember how many they said he had lost in a row, but it was double digits, I believe.
Yeah.
So kudos for him to, not only make a final, but to lift that crown against his countrymen because he played Korea in the final.
Yeah, no, that was a good win for him because, like you said, I hadn't seen his name in a minute.
Right. Right.
Um, and but he's one of the ones that did he win the next gen or he did really
He
well?
he did really well in the next gen. Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly. Yeah, I think Carlos won that year.
that was your Carlos one. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, he has definitely been one of the more promising um, players we've seen coming up. But yeah, just still looking for that consistency. And for a lot of these young players, that's going to take a minute, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
good to
Yes.
see that he's bouncing back a little bit.
Absolutely. Yes, and then we jump to the next tournament there at Montpellier in France. And hey, your boy Yannick Sinner was like, you know what? I'm ready to get back in the winner's circle. Actually defeated our boy Maxime Cressy in a great final. But I tell you what, Yannick Sinner played some good tennis that week.
He really did, and I think one of the best things he did was to enlist um, Darren Cahill
Yes.
as his coach. That union was almost like a FAA Tony Nadal
Hmm.
type union for me, right?
Yep.
You know, Sinner's already got the game. There's
Right.
not much that needs to change with his game, but to have an experienced coach like Cahill that has coached Agassi,
Hmm.
at when he
Hmm.
was, really doing it. That knowledge and that experience is going to only help Center as he goes forward.
Absolutely agree. Completely agree. So shout out Yannick Sinner for winning that title. Shout out to Maxime for, of course, making the
Yes,
final, and he beat Holger Rune in the semis to get there. So great tournament for our boy Maxime Cressy.
I will continue to say he's my favorite of the big, tall Americans.
There you go. Yes, sir. And then the last one for that week was the Dallas Open. We had tons of Americans in there. We had a very fit Jack Sock show up and tried to show out a little bit. Very good. So good on you, Jack and Nick Monroe. Good job, fellas. Keep it up. But eventually, Bryce, with all of those Americans in the draw, we ended up having a first time winner by a Chinese player. How about that? With
Look,
Wu Yingbing.
hey, Wu Tang. Look. I'm trying to tell you,
Yes,
John
sir.
Isner thought he was going to roll into that final, and I forgot what his record is there in Texas and stuff. Like they
Oh,
were
it's
all like,
strong.
"Oh, yeah," and he thought, "Oh man, I'm gonna roll up in here and work
Hmm.
this dude." And Wu Tang was like, "Wu Tang forever."
Right?
No, no, come get some of this.
Come get some of this and some of this in a bud. And he was like, look, I had some of this for Taylor Fritz. You better know I got some of it for you too.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And he fought off like how many match points?
I
Like,
I can't remember, but that match was, of course, all tiebreakers. So it
right.
was just like, and that's John Isner tennis right there. I mean, it's hard to break his serve, but Wu did it in the tiebreaker. He did what was needed, and that was a spectacular win, especially like you said, given John's record in Dallas or in Texas in general.
Right.
Yeah, that
And
was that
then
was yeah,
and then I saw him, meaning Wu Tang, he was flexing at like a Dallas Mavericks game
nice.
the next night. So he was like, y'all, I'm about to be the star of Dallas for these couple of days right here.
Right, right. Come on now.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Wu Tang, with your new nickname. Yes, sir.
which
Congratulations.
I have to give credit to our guys at the net podcast. AJ came up with that name, or at least he was the first person I heard say it. So let me make sure I give credit before he sent me a little call talking about why you biting off of my
Like,
stuff
why
on
you
your
biting my
show.
stuff? Right, right.
Yeah.
We love you, AJ, Craig, and Rick. We'll throw all our Dallas friends up there, our Texas
Right.
friends up in there. So, but yeah, good job, Wu Tang, on taking that one. So, Bryce, that was basically the titles for that first week of February. So good. I mean, a lot of tennis happened that week, and
Right.
even more to come. So jumping into the following week, and we'll jump back over to the ladies. They had a 500 in Qatar, Doha. And
Mm-hmm.
in that particular tournament, it was a certain someone named Iga Swiatek. I think you may have heard of her, um, who decided that she was ready to reestablish herself as the dominant number one and was just taking out folks just like it was just silly. 6-0, 6-1, 6-0, 6-1. I mean, she was just handing out bagels like it was just, come one, come all, Bryce. It was amazing.
I mean, the Iga Swiatek Bakery was officially open for business, and she was slinging batter and dough all over the place. And little Miss Pagula, Jessica Pagula, who
Ooh.
thought I got up on you in the what was it, the United Cup?
Yeah.
Eagle was like, "This I don't bring it for the cups, but for these single titles right here."
Uh-huh.
What was
Yeah.
it? What she beat her? She beat her. Was it 1-1?
No, I think it was like 3-0.
Oh,
Because
3-0. That's right.
yeah, yeah. So Jesse did come out playing. They back and forth the first set, and I think it was a lot of breaks. So good tennis that set. But then Iga she stepped up on her in that second set and was like, "Nah, sis."
So
Yeah,
basically, after Jessica got game number 3, it was over.
it was pretty much over. Yeah, yeah, pretty
Oh
much.
man.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it was good to see Inga back. I
I.
mean,
Mhm.
we had, she didn't win the Australian. She took some, losses. She was actually in tears,
Yeah.
in her loss to Pagula. So, and we know that Iga is an emotional player
Right.
and an
Right.
emotional person, and so we had fingers crossed that this wasn't going to be something that lingered
Yeah.
for her, and she brushed her shoulder off and shook it off and
Hmm.
truly reestablished herself in this tournament.
Oh, and let's just and I mean, and she got folks scared now because Bencic gave her a walkover. She was like, I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that. So so yes, Iga definitely back on top for sure. So incredible win for her that particular week. There was yeah, we'll jump over to the men's tournaments that happened that week as well. And so you had the Rotterdam tournament, which was a
Mhm.
500 with the guys. Once again, Sinner. I tell you what, he was out there playing some great tennis. Took out Tsitsipas, took out Wawrinka, a very hot Greek spore who is coming up these days. But unfortunately, did not have enough to get past Daniil Medvedev. Talk about Daniil Medvedev. How about that name? Good to have him back.
Yeah, I mean, very similar to Iga, right?
Yes.
Someone who was on top and has probably not had the best last 6 months,
Right.
as he would describe it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good to see him back in the winner's circle, and he looked good doing it too.
Yeah, he did. Apparently, while Iga had her bakery, Medvedev had his Ho Biscuit factory going on because after he gave Davidovich Fokina, he lost that first set, and then he didn't look back. He was like, "You get two Ho Biscuits, and then I'm gonna give two Ho Biscuits to Van de Zandschulp. I'm gonna give one to Felix. I'm gonna give bread and a Ho Biscuit to Dimitrov." And then we're gonna get up in the final, and I'm gonna give two more to Yannick Sinner.
Yeah,
So Medvedev
yeah.
was definitely on fire after that first round match that week. Exceptional. I mean, those names, Bryce. That's some good. That's some good wins.
Right. And, we've been asked recently, like, what's going on with Daniil? Daniil's fine.
Daniil
All
just
right.
fine. Daniil probably had something going on at home. He done got them babies right, so he like, listen, I'm back now.
Right, right. Yeah, and you can't discount that. I mean, his wife had a
Yeah,
child. I mean,
exactly.
that had to play a factor, in the last 6 months or so. So, congratulations, Daniil. We've
Oh
been looking
yeah.
for you.
We've been looking for you. And he's like, here I am. Um, so as we go, the next tournament we'll talk about is the Argentina Open. And this was the return of our boy, Carlos Alcaraz.
Olitos.
Carlitos. And guess what, Bryce? Carlitos did not fail. He did not let anyone down. He got up in there and was like, do not forget, folks, I have game.
Right.
I mean, just really did a phenomenal job. I mean, mind you, the draw, you didn't see a lot of the top names in there. I mean, Cam Norrie was there at the bottom of the draw, and they did end up meeting one another in the final. But Carlos just was, he was on point and got past Norrie in that final in straight sets.
It's always impressive when you've been out and you can come back and win the tournament that you return in, right?
Right, exactly. So we'll be talking about Carlos more, of course, but kudos, Carlos, for taking that title. Good job, sir.
Yes.
And then the other tournament that happened was back here in the States, and that was Delray Beach. And, after Wu Tang got up on Taylor Fritz, apparently he was like, you know what? Let me do a quick reset and let me go ahead and reestablish that I am the number one American. And he did so. He made it through the draw and ended up lifting that title. He took out a few Americans, but kudos for him. He took out our boy Kecmanovic in the final, and good to see him back in the limelight
Yes.
again.
And he has a coaching change. So, I don't know if now Bandian is no longer working with him, but he's now working with Wayne Black.
Nice.
So this was a good result for them as a new
Absolutely.
team. So yes, congratulations, Misha.
Misha. Yes, good seeing you back in the scene. Wish you could have raised the title, but still, very, very good result making it to the final there, young man.
And before we move on, just a quick question for you, Isaac. So,
Yeah, Bryce.
Taylor Fritz is the number one American.
Yes.
And it's looking like he's starting to really become more comfortable in that being in that role.
Right.
Uh, any thoughts on Taylor in this year?
Taylor's an interesting one for me to call, Bryce, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he has the game to really and truly be able to beat anyone actually, and to actually raise a Grand Slam. I mean, because let's not forget, he's beaten Nadal. He came very, very close to beating Novak back maybe a couple of years ago in the Australian Open. But then again, Novak was quote unquote injured with those torn guts. But
Right.
still, I feel like Taylor has a very his game is just underrated, in my opinion. And I really feel
Mm-hmm.
like he's got a really, really solid foundation. It's just, showing up in the right moments and in the right, and he did that,
Right.
with Indian Wells, but can he do that at a Grand Slam? That'll be the big question for me with him. But I think right now, yeah, he's clearly the top American male player for sure. I don't think anybody else out there right now can really, really get with him if he's on his A game. Just
Right.
my opinion. Now the other ones are coming up though, because I think Tiafo is still getting himself right. I still believe that Sebastian Corda will be the ultimate number one American. You've got Ben Shelton, who is, just joined the scene, but he definitely has ridiculous potential. So there's a lot of guys out there
JJ
that.
Wolf.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, let's not forget about JJ Wolf. We got JJ Wolf, and let's not forget about Tommy Paul. I mean,
Paul, right.
semifinalists at the Australian Open. So the Americans are definitely coming as far as jockeying between who's trying to be the number one American male. But I think right now, if again taking everybody's game into account, I would have to say that Taylor right now has earned that spot.
All
What
right.
about
I
you?
agree. No,
Any thoughts on you?
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
But it's moving though. It's moving. It's fast moving too. It might change as of Indian Wells.
It really might.
Cool, cool. So, with that being said, that was the tournaments for the week of February. What was that? The 13th. So we'll jump to the week of the 20th, and we actually had a. I guess they're. I don't know if they don't call it Master Series on the women's side, right? They call it what is it, the Tier One? Well, it was a thousand level tournament. There you
Right.
go, at Dubai, and of course, all of the names were pretty much in the draw, and some good battles in there, Bryce. But I tell you what, once again, Iga was just really, really, really dominant throughout that tournament. I mean, we're talking. She gave Leyla Fernandez two breadsticks. I mean, wow. And then she gave Samsonova bread and a bagel. And then Karolina Pliskova was like, I don't want none of that.
I want
So
none of that.
I don't want none of that. So she gave her a walkover. And you know what? But let's talk about this one, Bryce, because I really want to get your opinion on this. How did you rate that Swiatek Coco Golf match?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't see it.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So I can't speak to what exactly happened, but I will say this because I was talking to someone about it before it happened, and I just said, and I don't know if this was the case or not. You can let me know.
Hmm.
That's a horrible matchup for Coco Golf until she gets her forehand straight.
Right, right,
I
right.
mean, Swiatek's forehand is maybe one of the best forehands in the game.
Yes.
And she's going to always make that a forehand to forehand battle because we know
Right.
Coco Golf does have a world class backhand. But
Yes.
Swiatek is also quick enough that if she doesn't want to hit her backhand, she can run around hers.
Correct.
And
Correct.
so I don't know if that played out in the match or not.
Well, I felt as though Coco initially was really trying to go after her forehand, and I felt like she did a relatively good job of it. Of course, like you just said, the matchup forehand to forehand is always going to be with Iga. What I would like to see, though, and this is the thing that I really wish would happen, but I just don't know that it will. Um, I would like to see Coco honestly play a match where her sole purpose is to run around her backhand and hit forehands. Because I feel like if she can do that and gain some level of confidence, that will go so far with her because I feel like she depends so much on her backhand.
Yep.
And it's kind of like that whole thing when, like, think about Juan Martin del Potro. When he hurt his left hand, he still had that massive forehand, but then he went to slicing. And that's another thing that I really, really would like to see from Coco. Yes, her backhand is world class, but she needs to be able to slice. There were a couple of times where Iga took her out wide, and it would have been very nice for her to slice that ball back low versus running to it, getting a two-hander on it, but now you're out of position.
Court right.
You know what I mean? And so
Right.
so Roger was, just one of the best, if not the best, in that regard. He would always slice it back so he could get back into court position. And I feel like that is something that is missing with Coco that I literally just noticed. I was like, had she sliced it there, she would have had more time and she could have gotten back into the point because she's got crazy speed. Anyway, I
Well,
know
and I
what.
would
Yeah,
I would add on to that. So
yeah,
if you're talking about the slice, that plays into what I would like to see Coco do, and that is become more net focused. Right?
yes,
She has
yes.
such good hands at the net that
Yes.
if she could get herself in there more often,
Mhm.
number one, that's going to be disruptive to her opponent. Number
Right.
two, she's very, very capable up there, but you can't really go to the net behind like that two-handed backhand,
Correct.
you
Correct.
know.
You're not giving
So
yourself enough time.
you're not. So that slice that you're talking about helps and aids in that transition
Right.
for her from the baseline to the net.
Exactly. Exactly. So hopefully we will see Coco, again, continue to develop her game. But there are some few things that I think both of us really would like to see her implement. And I really feel like it will take her game again, continue to take her game to that next level. But we
Right.
shall see. But yeah, Iga, it did take her out 4-2. And she ended up playing our girl Krachikova in the final because Krachikova actually had a really nice tough match against Jessie Pagula, but gave her that bagel in that third set. And yeah, Bryce, Swiatek and Krachikova, talk to us.
Yeah, Krachikova was like, "Girl, ain't nobody scared of you." You know what I'm saying? She was like, I had already shown you once last year,
Right,
right? I
right.
did it in front of the peeps, and now I'm gonna do it in front of all this money. She
See,
was like, "You may have these other tricks, fool, but you ain't
right.
got me."
You ain't got me, right? Come on, say it, man.
No, no.
Woo.
She has clearly figured out something with Ego.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because you could have easily said the last time, like, okay, maybe Krachikova was on, and
Hmm.
and maybe Ego was a little subpar that day,
Right, right.
but you know, I was actually thinking, just like Swiatek got revenge, if you want to call it that, on Pagula
Right.
from
Yep.
losing to her. I thought, okay, now she about to come here and scalp Krachikova. And Krachikova was like,
No,
my wig
I'm.
is on tight.
It's
You are
on
not
tight.
getting none of this. None of this.
Sir, come on, say it, man. I thought the exact same thing, Bryce. I really thought Swiatek was gonna go up in there and just wreck shop, but no, Krachikova was like, nah, sis, you got me mistaken. Ain't nobody scared of you.
Right.
and she had a right to come in there confident because not only did she take out Pagula, but she also took out Big Sab and
Yep.
Ostapenko.
I need to have Krejcikova back in the mix here because she is another one, like I said, that has a very disruptive game.
Right, right.
Big serve, a great kind of almost flat tish.
Yes,
They're not flat, but flat tish
but very
type ground strokes.
fluid. Exactly.
Yes, I mean, another person that is very capable at the net, obviously being one of the best doubles players in the world.
Correct.
Um, and and she really doesn't get shook too
No,
much.
not too much.
So yeah, I was very impressed with that one.
Right. And a slight update. Sorry, she did not beat Ostapenko. She actually beat Kvitova, her homegirl. Big Sab is the one that took out Ostapenko. So let me make sure I say that. I don't want
Oh,
nobody
okay.
listening to the recording be like, "Now that Isaac." No, no, come on now. We'll own up to mistakes now. But
Right, right.
re- regardless, man, Krejcikova, fantastic result, and good on you, sis. Good on you, because we want there to be a battle. I like Iga, but I don't want her to just be dominating everybody.
Right.
There needs to be some contention out there, and it's nice to see that Krejcikova is the one that can provide that. And I still believe that Big Sab is riding on some confidence. I'm really looking forward to seeing a Big Sab Swiatek matchup because I think Big Sab might have a little something for Swiatek as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see this Indian Wells draw come out.
Same here, brother. Same here.
A couple people are going to be peeking. That whole like I don't look at the draw. I just take it one match at a time. That's a lie.
That's a lie.
They gonna be looking for Krejcikova's name.
Yep.
They gonna be looking at a couple of other people's names.
Yes,
But
sir. And
yeah, that
quietly, even Ostapenko, don't clown, but she has had a very nice season thus far.
right. Garcia. Folks gonna be looking.
Garcia.
Alicia Parks.
Mm-hmm.
People gonna be
Sure enough.
looking.
They're gonna be looking, bro. They're gonna have their eyes set. You know that. So shout out once again to Krejcikova for winning the 1000 series in Dubai. Good on you, young lady.
Right.
All right. And as far as the other tournaments, really quickly, shout out to Camila Giorgi for
Ooh.
taking the tournament in Merida, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
She put in work over there, Bryce. She put in work.
Look, I think what happened was she was watching TV and she said, "Wow, there are some good entrepreneurial opportunities out there." And Iga says you could be a professional tennis player and have a bakery too. And I'm about to feed somebody this week. Talk to me about the double bagel she gave Sloane
Oh.
Stevens.
Oh, Bryce, that one hurt my heart because I watched it and I was just like, it went from, okay, this is going to be a great battle because Sloane's the defending champion. She came off of a real tough one, the match before against Grancheva. So I was like, okay. And then the first set kind of went and it was 6-love. And I was like, ooh, okay, we're going to put that one behind us and we're going to reset. We're going to reset, right, Sloane? We resetting. And I tell you what, Camilla George, she was like, sis, you done caught me on the wrong day. Because I got what? No mercy. And my game feels good right now. And she just outplayed Sloane, just simply put. She had zero answers for what Georgie was doing. And we all know Georgie is one of those players, similar to a Garcia, who just simply goes out on her
Right.
shot. She hits everything big. And it just happened to be her day where everything was going in. So, it was disappointing to see, and it's always especially disappointing when you see a sister take a double bagel. But at
Right.
the same time, Camilla was like, hey, this my day, and I'm not trying to give you nothing. And she
And
sure didn't.
she did not
Mm-mm,
give her anything. So,
no. But
so
hopefully, yeah, go ahead.
uh,
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, hopefully Sloan will be able to bounce back. We see that she's in this tournament, Austin, this week. So our hope is that she will rebound. But I tell you what, she's got a tough first rounder against Taylor Townsend.
Yeah,
So
got that black on black crime. I'm
black
telling
on
you.
black crime makes me sad, but we'll see. But anyway, I interrupted what you were going to say, brother.
No, just shout out to Georgie. I mean, look, her name has been in people's mouths the last couple of weeks anyway because they've been talking about whether or not she's supplied a fake
Right.
COVID vaccination card.
Right.
And so she said, if y'all want something to talk about,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give you something to talk about.
I gave you something to talk about, and she sure did.
She must have thought the slowness said something in particular. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, right? And really quickly, shout out to Katie McNally for making it to the semifinals of that tournament. Katie, we want to see you keep building
Yes.
on those results, young lady. Keep it going.
Representing for the 513.
There you go. There you go. All right. So we're going to jump over to the men. Again, this is a continuation of the previous week at the Rio Open. We saw another final with Carlos Alcaraz versus Cam Norrie. But Bryce, this time it was a little different of a result.
Yeah, Cam was like, look, I'm not about to be your pitcher now. No, it ain't going to be like that. And props to Cam for, losing the first set and still coming back and winning 6-4, 7-5. Right. And the thing that I'm most impressed about with Cam is, when's the last time we saw a British person win on clay?
I know. I was actually surprised that he was playing both of those tournaments on clay. That was surprising to me. But good on him for hey, knowing his game and knowing what he was trying to accomplish.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's really showing that his game is an all court game.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, and we will keep our fingers crossed that Carlitos is in good shape. He was dealing with apparently some type of a hamstring type of a issue going into that third set. So he toughed it out, and he was actually really, really close to winning. He was slapping some winners left and right, but unfortunately, Cam was a little bit too clever and too sharp to fall for it, and ended up taking it. But hopefully Carlitos is able to mend. So even though he's in the draw this week, I would be surprised to see him and Cam Nori play, to be honest with you.
Right.
Yeah. But again, kudos to both of those guys. Great results. But Cam, good job for lifting that title. Great job. All right. So the next tournament we had, Bryce, was a 250 in Marseille, France. And
Yes.
Hubie Hurkacz got out there and was doing some things, and ended up lifting the title against Benjamin Bonzi.
Yeah, that was a good win for him. We haven't seen Hubie win something in a minute.
Right.
And so that was a very good win for him. And, he took out Bublik, along the
Yes.
way,
Yes.
and Mikael Emer. And, we know for different reasons, neither one of those players are easy to play.
Exactly.
But who I want to shout out
Come on.
is my guy, Arthur Feast,
Yes.
who made it to the semifinals. And like I said on a previous show, or maybe it was an IG Live, he caught my eye about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew at that time he was, he still needed to fill out a little bit. He needed to put his grown man shoes on. And he's and he's done that now.
Yes.
And he kind of looks like a little younger version of Songa to me a little bit. But he's got such a very clean game, and I'm expecting big things from this guy. I'm not going out here saying he's the future number one or anything, but I do think he has the potential to be a future top tenner. So good to see that he made it to the semifinals, and he did get a walkover over center, which helped, but he used that good energy to put it on Stan Wawrinka.
That's right. Absolutely.
And then he lost to his countryman, Bonzi. So I was very glad to see him have a good week.
I agree, and he had a some good results previous week as well. So
he did.
So Arthur Fees is someone to look out for, folks. So if you have not heard that name, definitely put it in your Rolodex and look out for him, because he is good. He is very good. Yeah. All right. So we will go to the next tournament that week. And again, that was the Cater tournament 250. And Andrei Rublev was the top seed. And funny enough, he was the top seed, but Daniil Medvedev was the, the fourth seed or third seed? Third seed, excuse me. And he ends up meeting his countryman in the final.
No, he met Murray.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's right. See, I'm looking at. I am so sorry. Yeah, Rublev didn't even make it nowhere close to the final because he got beat by Leheshka.
Right.
That is right. Yes, and we got to shout out Andy Murray. That's right.
We do,
because Andy Murray was like, "Listen, I'm not done, y'all. Nope. I'm not done. Go ahead, Bryce. Talk on it, bro."
Yeah, I mean, it was just a great week for him. I mean, he took out Sonego, he took out Zverev, he took out Mueller, he took out Lehechka. I mean, that was a great and all of these matches, I think, went 3 sets.
Yeah, every single one of them. Yep.
So that vibranium hip was really keeping it together. But like we've said, Daniil is back.
Yeah, Daniil is back, y'all.
He definitely is. And when he took out FAA, which was a good match, 4 and 6, and then Andy, he was like, "We're just not gonna let this go 3 sets this time. We're gonna wrap this up."
We're gonna wrap this up, right?
Yeah. So that's 2 wins in back-to-back weeks for Medvedev. So I think he's feeling really good going into Indian Wells.
Yeah, honestly, Bryce, he's my favorite going into Indian Wells. I mean, seriously.
Mine too.
Because he's looking like the Daniil of old. He's looking like he's playing that. I cannot wait to see him play against Djokovic again, because I think that's always a good test for him. But I think when his confidence is right, I think Daniil, yeah, I think he's gonna have something for Novak. So this could be a really good year between those two.
It, and I expect for by the time we get to the end of the year, I expect for Medvedev to be back in the top three for sure.
I agree, 100% agree. Yep, right on, brother. So good job, Daniil. Number two, title number two, and Bryce. I think we made it to the current week.
Good job, man.
Good job. Hey, right on, brother. So we've got a couple tournaments happening this week, of course, before Indian Wells. There's a smaller 250 in Austin for the ladies. There is also what was that tournament, Bryce? The other one?
Monterey.
Monterey. There you go. So we've got two smaller tournaments for the ladies. I think the one in Austin was just the one that we're particularly interested in because it's got a lot of our names. Like again, we told you about Taylor Townsend versus Sloane Stevens. You got Alicia Park in the draw. You got Robin Montgomery in there. So Katie McNally. Lots of Americans in there. So we're hoping that will be a good tournament for the ladies going into Indian Wells. Anything you want to say on that one, Bryce?
No, other than Alicia Parks lost today,
Okay.
and it was. I watched the match, and she still got the foundation right. There's, it's just that she's young, and she just some things need to be polished up in her game.
Right. Right.
But so I hated to see her go out. But no, like we were saying earlier, the Taylor Townsend Sloane Stevens first round match is a popcorn match. Sloane is going to be wanting to get these bagels off her back, and
Yes.
Taylor is still trying to reestablish herself after having her first child. So
that's right.
I definitely want to see that match.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So keep your eyes on that one, folks. That'll be a good one this week. Anything you want to mention about the other ladies tournament, Bryce?
Other than Garcia's the top seed and she really should win it. I mean, there's nobody in this tournament that should cause her any problems.
Gotcha. Very good. All right. And to the men actually have a pretty active week. So they've got two 500s going on as well as a 250. So the first 500, of course, is Dubai. So they're back in Dubai. And we get to see the number one player in the world, Novak Djokovic. He is back in the scheme of things. But interestingly enough, again, Daniil is in the draw and he is a part of that top half. So do you think we'll see them in the semis?
Maybe, because Djokovic will have to get past Hubie.
Yes, that's right.
So Hubie may have a little confidence right now after just, getting that title last week.
Right.
And he has the type of game that can beat Djokovic.
He absolutely does. That's right. His game bothers Novak very much. So that's a good call. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Daniil is definitely in the semis, and then it'll either be Hubie or Djokovic, and then you know what? Believe it or not, Medvedev probably wants Djokovic to win.
Yeah,
because he struggles with Hubie.
Actually, you're right. He does struggle with Hubie because Hubie has a good net game, and you have to have a really strong net game in order to beat Daniil, as we saw when Felix played him last week. Because Felix was bricking volleys left and right, and I think that's what caused him the match. In all honesty, you've got to be able to be an effective volleyer if you're going to play and beat Daniil Medvedev.
Right. I do want to call out in the bottom half, though, a first round matchup, and that's FAA and Cressy.
Yes.
FAA can't be happy with that.
No. But if he gets through, I think he might have a good run because I think he owes Sonego. Yeah, I always have problems with his name.
Right.
But I feel like he'll probably try and get up on him. And then if he pays Zverev, he has, a pretty good record these days against Sasha. So,
yep.
It could be a nice little run for Felix. I'm hoping that is the case because I can tell you what, Bryce, when he lost to Daniil this past week, he was not happy. I mean, right. it was probably one of the more colder handshakes I've seen from Felix at the net. Because Daniil is always like Mr. Happy, and he was just like, I am not trying to talk to you right now because I am not happy with this loss. So I was like, okay, maybe that'll put a little fire in his belly to really show out this week, but we shall see. It's
Right.
gonna be good, y'all. There's a lot of good matches in there, so y'all need to be trying to watch.
Right.
Um, so with that said, we'll jump over to the tournament in Acapulco, and this is the one, Bryce, where both Cam and Carlitos are still in the draw. So neither of them have pulled out at this point. And Carlitos is playing Mackie McDonald the first round, so that might be something he want to consider.
Yeah,
You do not want to be hurt up and trying to play Mackie McDonald because he gonna keep you out there.
he is. Believe it or not, even though the other tournament has the bigger names,
Uh-huh.
I like this tournament more.
I agree. Yep, I agree.
Um, you know, with who first round match, JJ Wolf and Terrell Daniel,
Woo.
Ben Shelton versus Runa.
Bruna. Yep.
Um, we see Berrettini is back.
Mm-hmm.
Even Cam Norrie's first round match against Manarino. I mean,
Manarino. That is.
very comparable styles between the two of them, right?
Exactly.
You
Oh
know,
yeah.
Chris Eubanks and Feliciano Lopez in the
I
first round.
know. Name from the past, right?
Fritz and Isner in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I
Don't forget
mean,
Catch and Shapovalov, Catch Monovich and Shapovalov first round.
oh yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be a beauty. And uh, Giron and Michael Moe.
Yep, yep. Because Michael Moe's been having a really good show of late. He's been getting some good results.
Right. So I'm actually a little more tuned into this tournament.
I feel you on that, brother. I feel you, and it will be interesting to see who comes out of that. You got any picks as of right now?
Well, if Alcaraz is healthy, I would have gone with him.
Yeah.
But since he is suspect, um, I believe it or not, I'll just say this: I think it'll be an American.
Yeah, me too. I'm leaning towards Tiafo because I really am thinking that he needs a good showing before going into New Wells because he been doing this little celebrity thing. He been all with the NBA and hanging around LeBron and all these other folks. All right, so come on back to your sport and show that you've earned all of
Right.
that. Show that you've earned that, and I think he will, honestly. I think he's wanting to be considered one of the elite players in tennis like that, similar to basketball and the other sports. So I expect a lot from Tiafo. So we'll see.
There we go.
All right, brother. And the last tournament is the 250. Musetti is the top seed there. Clay court tournament, which is always very curious right before a 1,000 on hard court. But yeah, he's there, and we've got some clay court names there. Schwartzman's there, Jashuri, Ramos Binoles, they're all in there.
Yeah. I'm obviously least interested in that one,
Yeah.
but we'll keep a simple eye on it.
There you go. And Bryce, we have made it through all of the tournaments.
Good job, Isaac, because I would have struggled going through all those.
Dog, hey man, this is one of those things, folks, where again we spent a little bit of time, kind of I won't say relaxing, but we watched a lot of tennis, but didn't do a lot of recording after the Australian Open. So this is more of a catch up episode. So hopefully you all enjoyed it, had similar thoughts, and if not, we always love hearing your feedback. So Bryce, anything additional on this or anything in general that you want to mention?
No, other than just as a reminder, every Monday after we record our episode, we go on Instagram Live. And,
Yes.
and we call it our after show, kind of. But if you want to engage with us in real time and see comments from other members of the BOT family, on Mondays at approximately 7-ish p.m. Pacific time, 10 o'clock Eastern. Um, just jump out there on Instagram and rock with us for a little bit and have a good time.
That's right, because we always have fun out there, y'all. Hopefully, you know that
Absolutely.
by now.
They know.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
know.
They know.
Right. So we're going to actually get ready to jump on the Instagram right now. So once again, Great job, Isaac, on catching us up on all those tournaments. And to you, enjoy the tournaments that are happening this week. And we'll be right back here next week to talk about them. So, on behalf of the podcast, this has been your boy Bryce.
And this is your boy Isaac.
And we are Brothers on Tennis. Have a great week, everyone.